Hey, hope you are really well. It is Cordeillia the Educator, and I am here with another YouTube video. Today we're going to talk about how how I taught my child to read before the age of 2 years old. Before we get into this, yes, he is a fantastic reader. He's now just turned 3, and a lot of these snippets of videos that I'm going to pop into this video are kind of like of him reading CVC words before he turned 3 years old. And so I'm basically coming to you with some tips about how you can, or about what you can implement as a parent to support your child to read before, I'll probably say before the age of 3 would be a nice goal to go for. But first, I'm going to talk about why reading is so important and why I set a goal for myself and him to read at an early age. Now, I always say to all of my children, I've got 3 children, I always say to my children, readers are leaders. Reading is really, it's one of those things that it's basically like a life skill, okay? So whether or not it's just for education, or whether or not you just want them to be a great reader, or whether or not you want to ensure that they sit a GCSE early or something like that, all of these things really help if they can read from an early age. Why? Because reading is a life skill. In every single walk or element of life, reading really helps. If you can read, for example, if you're thinking about maths, a lot of the time now we have so many worded questions, yeah? And so in maths exams, even if you don't know the answer to the specific question and you can read and understand the question, even if you show your understanding, sometimes you can get the answer right, or you can get a few marks. So reading is a really important life skill. It's not just for grades, it's not just for exams, it is a life skill. And so I set my goal for all of my children to have a love and a passion for reading. And all of them read before the age of 3. So all of them were reading CVC words at the age of 2 years old. Now, firstly, you might be asking what a CVC word is. A CVC word is basically, generally speaking, it's a 3-letter word that can be spelt out phonetically. So at, mat, at, pat, pig. These are really short words that can be sounded out phonetically that make the actual word itself. And these are the words that my child could read before he was 3 years old. So at the age of 2, he was reading CVC words. All of them were. And how did I do it? And how do you spell cat?
Cat.
Oh. So I'm going to give you a few tips, and if you implement these tips, as always with all of my videos, if you implement the tips, you too can have a child that is passionate about not just reading, not just maths, but education in its entirety. You can set them on a fantastic, in fact, a phenomenal learning journey, which they actually really enjoy, and they actually love learning. And so some of my tips. So the first tip is to always have books around the house. So if you come into my household, as soon as you come through the door, we've got a little bookcase. So there's books outside just at the door. There are books in the living room. There's books in the kitchen. There's books just at the top of the stairs. My children call it a library. We don't have a library in the house, but they call it a library. We have books in like a plastic box, I guess. We have books in plastic box. If you go into their bedroom, there's books in there. If you go into the study, there's books in there. The only place that we don't actually have books is the bathroom. That's the only place in the whole house that we don't have books. Even if they're outside on a nice warm day, because we live in England, it's freezing cold during winter, but even on a nice hot summer's day, I will actually take books outside as well. Now, it's not just to have the books in specific places, it's also to ensure that these books are easily accessible to the child. So a child should be able to see the books. They should be able to see the front covers. They should be able to take them down when they want to access them. So it's to make the books at each point, make them easily accessible to your child. So if they want to read, they should be able to get them themselves. They should be able to see the front covers of them, because and get books that are nice and bright and nice and colourful. And also, in fact, another tip, don't just get one kind of book. So most parents, and I'll show you, I have a few books here actually, most parents will consistently get these kind of books. So, you know, they're nice and bright, nice and colourful. Children can't really read through these books by themselves yet, depending on their age. But a lot of parents invest in these kind of books. What you need are books that are lots of different books, but books that are non-fiction and fiction. What I mean by that is you want books about animals, you want books about sea life, you want books about mountains, you want a wide range of books. What you will find is, and you know, scatter them as I said, make them accessible around your house. And what you will find is your child will actually go to these books when they want to, and they may actually start asking you questions out of these books. What's that? How does this go with this? Why is this color? Can you read it to me? And that's what we want our children to do. We want them to start enjoying books before they can even read. Okay, so make them easily accessible. Have books around the house. That's the first 2 tips. Number 3, you want some. You want to start them reading from an early age. And so it's not just books, but also small letters that they can actually play with as well. You want to ensure that these small letters, that they are used as play items. In fact, let me go and get some. 2 seconds. Okay, so what we have is we have these kind of letters as well. So we use these a lot, and these are great. Always begin with the lowercase letters. Always begin with lowercase letters. So these are really, really nice little letters that we use all the time. And what you can find with these kind of letters is, because they're quite small, because they're nice and sanded, they're nice and rounded off, they're lovely little things for children to play with. And so I use these to support my child to make his name. I might hide them under a rug and say, what letter do you think's under there? He can feel it, and he might try and guess what letter it is. And then coupled with that, we have these as well. So I don't know if you can see them. So these are really good. These are, you get a lot of CVC words in this pack. I actually do sell these if you go onto my website. But what children do, hopefully you can see that, they can actually find, so they, number one, they can try and phonetically spell the word. So bag, they can see the picture of the bag, and then they can also put these into its correct place. So you get a lot of, so that's where your kinesthetic learning comes from, because they're actually using their hands to move things around, so that increases their memory as well. And these little, as I said, these little letters, they are phenomenal. And I've used them to support both of my children. And my little boy, he was using these. As soon as he could sit up by himself, he was using these. They're just lovely little things that children can use to help them. So that's another thing, is have malleable, have tactile learning things that they can play with, not just learn. But remember, play. Play is the word of the day, okay? The need to play. And that kind of leads me on to my next tip, is to play with your children all the time. So, for example, if you set aside, I don't know, and it needs to be small bite-sized chunks. Let's be honest, we know the younger children have very short attention spans. And so just small, short chunks throughout the day. Just set aside 5-10 minutes. You might get these on the table, you might get them on the floor. And I did this, honestly, I did this with my child. I'll throw in some videos, as I said, so you can actually see. And even if they're still eating at the same time, it doesn't matter. They don't have to completely stop everything. But just play with them, throw them to them, hide them, I don't know, put them in the bath, not necessarily these, but if you can get some plastic ones, put them in the bath with them. And then, you know, from time to time, oh, what letter's over there? Oh my gosh, the letters have gone on top of each other. What letter do you think it is? Okay, what sound does it make as well? Because they're learning we want them from an early age to learn the letters and the sounds. Letters and sounds. Now, this may not work for every single child, but what I did with my son is he does go to nursery twice a week, but I've taught him the sounds. So I've really concentrated on the sounds with him. So I haven't really concentrated on the letters at all. Although we do, for instance, we do sing ABC in the car, but when I'm at home, I don't teach him the letters. I specifically teach him the sounds because, I'll give you another example, because when it comes to CBC words, if you want them to learn to read from a very early age, what they must be able to do is know all of the sounds. The sounds, when it comes to reading, the sounds are more important than the actual letters. The letters, they will pick up anyway, okay? They will pick up the letters anyway. But what you really, really want them to do is to be able to sound out the words. So I don't think you can, hopefully you can see that. We want them to sound out the words. So just to give you an example, I know you probably know already, but instead of saying R-E-D, they will have to enable them to say the word, they will have to say R-E-D, red. And by teaching them the phonetics and the sounds first, they will pick up reading really, really quick. The letters A, B, C, D, E, they're going to pick them up anyway, okay? So for me, what I did with my children, I'm not saying it works with every single child, but for my children, I taught them the phonetics first, and they kind of got the letters anyway. And I started teaching my youngest, I started teaching him phonics when he was, I don't know, I'm sure he was about 7 months old. As soon as he could, no, probably even earlier. And again, we had these nice little flashcards. I don't have any with me now, but we had the flashcards, and I was simply at the dining table, we'd do 2. So we do ah and ba, and that's it. What's that? Ah, what's that? Ba. And we'd go over them a few times, and that is it. And that's exactly how we started. And now he's just gone 3, and he's reading. I mean, he can read these CBC words by himself now. He could do them by himself, and it's only because we started from a really young age. It was all through play, and he honestly sees it as playtime. He's like, "Mom, can we play the letters?" I'm like, "Yeah, cool, we're gonna play the letters." My 7-year-old now, she's writing her first book. Again, she fell in love with reading from a very early age as well, but it really does help to, I guess, get them, they become passionate readers. We've got books everywhere. And yes, I know, I'm going to be very honest, open and honest, books can actually become quite expensive. But guess what the library's for? Jump to the library all the time, just don't lose the books, like we did from time. Just don't lose the books. But yeah, so because we also, another thing is we take books into the car as well. So a lot of the time when I'm in the car, when I'm driving, my children will be reading books, and my son, like my 3-year-old, he'll take books like this sometimes. So again, this is all about sharks. It's really cool. He can't read it, of course. I mean, he can read the CBC words like p or puff or pup, and ah and is. But what he'll do is he'll take these with him in the car, and he'll just look through them. And we might, I'll look back and he'll look as if he's just looking through them. But when in reality, what he's actually doing is he's looking at the pictures, he's looking at the words. And in his mind, he's actually building up a memory. He's building up a memory bank of what these letters look like, what these words look like, what do they look like together. And this is what we want our children to do from an early age, is get them into building up that memory bank. Okay, storing things in there from a really early age. So I think that is most of my tips covered. I will possibly do another video on this, and in fact I'll have my son with me, and I can actually show you what he can do at this point in time. But a lot of parents and a lot of my friends will look at me and they say, "Oh my gosh, you must have like grilled him from a really early age. How did you get him to read so early?" And I'm very open and very honest. And, you know, I don't like children sitting at desks for hours upon hours upon hours and grilling them. I think that's boring personally. I'm a very kinesthetic learner myself, and that's exactly how I support children to learn. It's all through play. It's all through enjoying the experience, because if a child enjoys the experience, they are going to want to know more. I promise you, if they enjoy the experience, if it's a fun experience, they're going to want to know more. Okay, so yeah, make it fun, make it interesting, start from a super early age, keep it tactile, keep it engaging, play, and I promise you, if it's reading that you want your child to do from an early age, they will start to grasp the concepts and put 2 and 2 together, and before you know it, they will become passionate readers. And also, as I said, you know, I started with phonics first. I forgot about the letters. They came afterwards. My children got the letters anyway. They picked them up. They will, but phonics first. Play, keep it tactile, keep it engaging, keep them learning for fun, and they undoubtedly will start picking up reading. Whether you like it or not, they will begin to become readers from a really early age. So I really hope this video helped. If you have any questions at all, please do post them and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. But yeah, let's get our children to read from an early age. Let's get them to be keen, passionate about reading, because at the end of the day, it's a life skill which we all need. Okay, it's Cordeillia Cooper. I will see you on the next one. Thanks, bye.